What's good, YouTube? Cardfight King here, Aqua Life Baby. You already know how it is. So today's video, guys, I wanted to kind of go over the two different reveals: Blue Wave Senior Soldier Corvette and Blue Wave Marine General Galiot. That Ray Galilet was just revealed tonight. They don't have him up on the wiki page, so we're going to be looking at it from my Facebook group, but I wanted to just cover these two, but more or less, I really wanted to talk about the skill that I want Valeos to have going into tomorrow morning's reveal. And I really think these two cars are going to set him up. And if anything, I'm more excited about what we're getting in Corvette than anything else, because I really feel like he brings the clan, or at least the Blue Wave archetype, so much of what we have been lacking in the past. And getting right into Corvette, he's a static 5K during your turn on the rearguard circle if you have a Blue Wave Vanguard. Most of pretty much the 100% of the time, you should be having a Blue Wave. You should be having a Blue Wave Vanguard unless your misride is just that bad. But really, Corvette, being a 13K hitter means that on the rearguard circle, 13K touches force cards, at least forces an interceptor, 5K block, so gives you the opportunity to hit. And you're going to hear that coming later as well. But he always will have an opportunity to hit. Two of him in the same column with the Blue Wave Vanguard puts you at a really solid 26K column that forces out a 15K shield from the opponent. You're looking at a card that can go behind your Vanguard, and on your turn one play, if you're going second, this card gives you the ability, like, hey, I'm going second. I have the ability to get a search off for swing. Do you want to counterblast for your turn two play? It could force some early guard out. And if you put a copy of him behind your Vanguard, then you're already swinging for 21K and the ability to get off a double search. And the double search is, if it hits, when it boosts or attacks, you get to look at the top three for a Blue Wave card, add it to your hand, and put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Now, that for premium is probably going to be really good too. But looking at standard, I mean, this card gives Aquaforce something that we've been missing for a long time, and that is good generic constant search. I just think that being a 13K attacker, so you're going to be able to hit at all, pretty much at all stages of the game. This card is going to be able to hit. This card is 18K on the Excel circle. This guy is a fantastic booster. Like, easily, this card is going to be probably my favorite, but one of the strongest cards coming out of the Blue Wave. Coming out in the Valeos Blue Wave deck. And again, you're going to have plenty of opportunities to hit the Vanguard with this card, whether he's boosting or attacking, and getting off a search for the top three. So that would definitely increase the consistency of the deck if we're forced to having to just run 4 grade 3s for more optimal plays or not. So honestly, this guy is amazing, and I can't wait to definitely utilize him. Now, we know that most likely this Blue Wave Valeos is probably going to be paired up with Ravon, but I personally think we're going to end up with a 4 grade 3 deck until we get Tetra Drive in V Series, because since this dude searches for Blue Waves only, and if we're on Ravon, I don't know how well the Blue Wave cards are going to really mesh with this stuff. So we'll see. We may end up playing Ravon, but we'll see. And then looking at Galiot here, Galiot is actually a very interesting card. Now, I love Corvette the most, but I think this guy really complements Corvette. Where he's basically a less costly Algos, where you get to stand one of your Blue Wave rear guards for just 1 counterblast. So instead of having the Soul Blast cost, they just have the specific cost of standing a Blue Wave card. Right off the bat, I think that this effect is really good. It gives us the ability to have a very strong turn two play, being able to call down Corvette, swing 13 with Corvette, swing with this guy, restand Corvette, swing again. Corvette has now the opportunity to be able to hit twice to get off a double search. And again, that search to me is extremely valuable because it's, you're not always going to be searching for your grade 3. You're going to be searching for copies of him, copies of Corvette. You're going to be searching just for pieces to put onto the board. And, they're going to your hand. They're not like random calling off the top of the deck like Foivos does or anything like that. So instantly this ability to stand with your blue wave rear guards really brings us the ability to open up some really nice turn 2 early aggression that the blue wave that I know and love from back then was pretty good at. And then the other ability gives us a taste of what Blue Storm was originally supposed to be like, where at the end of the battle that it attacked, if your Vanguard's power is different from what its current power is, basically the same thing like a lot of the Revan cards like Galilet and whatnot. You can Soul Blast one and you get to swap this card another column. Now instantly you have a self-protection method by being able to swap swap him with another card, so he definitely protects himself by moving himself to the back row for what it's worth. And then you get to swap with the card behind it. So instantly, you just look at what we got in the set. We got Corvette. You swap with Corvette. Corvette's a 13k attacker as long as you have a blue wave on your Vanguard circles. Corvette's a 13k attacker. And, being a 13k attacker means that I'm going to be able to poke at a force unit easy. And I've already talked about how good Corvette is and what he can do just from having a static 13k base. So instantly that's great. But then I'm thinking of other cards like Coral Assault. Coral Assault be a fantastic card for for us to use for this, being able to already have a card at rest, be in the same column as it. So now you have 2 individual grade 2 attackers, and then Coral Assault will be whatever, however you do your turn. Essentially you want to be able to proc him to swing for 24k with a 15k boost. I'm thinking of cards like Narissa. If she ends up getting rested and restood, swinging for 18, you can put Gallius behind this guy and poke for 14k, and then restand when your Vanguard attacks for another attack there. And I'm thinking of those plays here that like there's a whole window of opportunity to what you can put behind this card for just for attacks of opportunity at the opponent. Now, as you can see here, I guess from my comment on Facebook, that Valeos has to lock or else. And what I mean by Valeos needing to lock is I really believe that Valeos should be able to reduce the power, maybe reduce the power by 3k or whatever it is, or just put the opponent's power to 9 and freeze it. Something around that area. I'm not going to predict like what it should be, but I need him to reduce and lock it in, preventing the opponent from hitting a damage trigger and then them being able to apply the trigger effect. I don't want them to be able to apply the trigger effect. I want a reduction and a lock. And the reason, and people say, oh no, that's overpowered. It's not overpowered. I mean, if you see what we have in the current meta game today, you have gold paladins. I don't care, even Gurgwit got nerfed and whatever it is. We had to exist with the Gurgwit Percival deck. Percival is going to be thrown into every gold paladin deck from here moving forward for the V series. And that card, that card is just ridiculous. Anytime you call it out, hard once per turn, you get an Excel marker and a free card from your drop zone or your deck. And Agavale, who also fills the soul, bounces the hand, and swings for 10k when he attacks when you use his ability. So, I mean, you already have that existing. You have Hamiel for Angel Feathers. You have Luard doing what Luard does. I mean, there is enough of, problematic cards that I think that, and when it comes to Aquaforce, you look at the issues that, outside of the game mechanics screwing us, you look at the issues that the Thavis and Lambros deck has, and that's the fact that the best card in the deck is Pursuit Assault, which is locked behind a promo card. And, since it's locked behind a promo card, we don't have the ability to scale and attack opponents late in the game. We have to pretty much hope our opponent doesn't hit a damage trigger. You have to hope that, you know, this and that. So it's really one of those things where, since we don't have that promo, we're severely lacking in power when it comes into the late game scenario. And by locking the opponent's power, freezing him from not hitting a damage trigger, this gives us the ability to really put pressure on the opponent and at least give each and every card the chance to hit the opponent and not and not have to worry about, oh, this damage trigger is going to end our turn. Now we're going to end our turn. Our opponent has a big hand, and then we're going to get clapped on the very next phase. So that's really why I think that Valeos should be able to lock it. And again, with the current power and current state of the game, it seems to be very viable, enough, especially as V Series is ending. We're getting different designs on cards and whatnot. I think it's a very appropriate skill. So those are my thoughts on what Valeos kind of should do. Just some kind of power lock, and just give our cards an ability to attack. If we're not going to get a lot of power where we're going to force out a massive amount of shield from hand, let us go back to what Aqua Force is used to doing. Let us go back to making our opponent have hard guarding decisions and force more cards out of their hand through a multitude of attacks, rather than trying to overpower and take out as many cards and not have any scaling and, things like that, just to give us an opportunity to attack. And like I said, with Corvette and everything, for a counterblast and a soul blast, you put Corvette in a column with Gallius, you swing with Corvette, you can poke out an intercept, then you can move out Gallius, you can swing with Gallius for 14, and then when your Blue Wave Vanguard attacks, you can restand Gallius, and then swing with 14 or however many, whatever trigger powers you've placed onto him. So all in all, I really see that, with what Corvette brings, with what Galilet brings, I really think that is opening the door for some very positive actions moving forward for Aqua Force. And I really hope that that Valeos this time, not like last time in V or in G Series, but this time Valeos is done correctly. He still has his aesthetic of power locking the opponent and reducing, and we're going to reduce their power, so that we could actually have a viable, Aqua Force deck that we can carry towards the end of the V Series, maybe into premium or V premium or whatever it is. Just something that gives us hope for the future and is going to last for quite a while. But this has been Cardfight King, Aqua Life Baby. We're out. We'll see what happens with Valeos in the morning. Peace.